Yes. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. Nick Deus here at the Lamb Show is where you can find me. Let me put this laptop to charge while we're doing it. At Veterans Minimum is where you can find the show. Today, I have a special guest. One of us has won the Millie Maker in DFS, and it ain't me. But my guy Charles is in the building. What's going on, man?
What's up, Nick? Thank you for having me. That's an awesome introduction, man. I appreciate that.
Listen, we'll talk about the hat a little bit later. Like I said,
sure.
You know, not everyone's perfect. We all have our flaws.
Yeah, we all have our flaws. And this has been a flaw for 25 years, bro. But I'm still going to rock with it.
It's funny that you say 25 exactly because I'm starting to gather my research for the season coming up. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys, the last 25 years, 17 out of 25, it's been under on the win total. It's at 9.5 now.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because you guys are America's team, and it's such a public team that no matter what, sports books, they cake on, you know, Joe at the bar who's a Cowboy fan. He's just going to blindly bet him over, and the Super Bowl props and shit. They're, I believe, 28-1.
Yeah. You got to thank Jerry Jones for that, man. Every year he gives us this hope that, you know what, we're going to be in the Super Bowl, you know, and for the last 25 years it hasn't worked out. This is the year. This is what every Cowboy fan says. This is the year, bro.
There's as I've gotten older,
that's kind of tongue in cheek, but
yeah. As I've gotten older, man, and I think also being in this line of work, I try to remove my biases as much as I can. Yeah. But it's weird whenever I talk about teams in the NFC East. If I'm a little bit like critical, it's like, oh, you're a fucking hater. Fuck
you're
you.
It's a homer.
Like, you're a homer. You know, even though I think the Giants are going like 4-13 this year, and I'm upset that there's no big prospects coming out at quarterback. But I think with Dallas, I'm fascinated by them because do you like? I know we're going to talk a lot about daily fantasy, but do you like betting or like futures and stuff like that? Are you into them?
Yeah, I do. I dabble in it. I wouldn't say that I go into it as hard as I do with the DFS, but like I was looking the other day at future props for this year, and one that jumped out at me, and I know I'm going to be called a homer for this, but Zeke to win the Russian title is like plus 2,100. Yeah. You know, and I mean, to me, I think that's a value bet because I'll bet it if I see value in the bet. You know, it's that's the way I look at it. It's all a value proposition for me. Yeah,
that's how it should be, right? Yeah. Like I've been talking about Justin Herbert winning MVP since like week 4 of last year. Yeah, second year trend. I love the Chargers. I love the Chargers roster too. Yeah. I was a big fan of his for years, and he just checks a lot of the boxes, right? They improved their O-line. They got loaded weapons too. Their defense is going to be sick. And at the time, like in March, he was 45-1. Now, win bet, he's 10-1, only behind Mahomes. It's I don't want to bet him now.
Money's coming in.
Yeah, I don't want to bet him now. But when he was 40-1, I loved it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking with my buddy Danny, and I'm like, yo, you know who? I was like, this is a girl's play. I'm not saying he's going to win MVP, but a guy who kind of fits the mold of a dude who I would want to bet on for value was Tua. 85-1. Right. Second year QB. Everybody's off him. But think about what this dude had to deal with last year, right? He had that injury. Yeah. People are like, is this fucking guy going to even play again?
Right.
No off-season or training camp. Yeah. And to be fair, you could be like, yo, Burrow and Herbert didn't have one either. Right. That's fair. But they also didn't have career-threatening injuries. Yeah. And he goes to Miami. He has the Fitzpatrick thing. He knows that, oh, man, I can't even make a bad pass. I'm going to get pulled. Yeah. And I love their roster, Miami's roster, and you know they get Waddle.
They have a solid roster.
They get Waddle,
a good young roster. Yeah.
They got Fuller. Parker, I think, is gonna have a nice year because he fits. He's different from all the other wide receivers. Yeah. Gesicki, I think, could have a nice year. Yeah. Gaskin also. So I'm like, yo, at 85-1, right? That's interesting. I think Miami's gonna be good too. But going back. Know. Yeah, you never know with that. And it's also like with the value betting and finding the right numbers, that's really what the difference is.
Right.
21-1, you said, for Zeke?
For Zeke, yeah. That's the Russian title, yeah. It was on the FanDuel Sportsbook as of like 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I like him to lead the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's about 15-1. Yeah. Because Dallas, they get Lyle Collins back. Zach Martin got hurt, I think, like halfway through the year last year. Yeah. Tyron Smith was in and out the line. No, I think he only played like 2 or 3 games.
Right.
They didn't have Dak.
Yeah.
Dude, in the league I play with Dom, shouts to Dom. He's
Dom, what up?
He's the middleman in this connect that we linked up. But we play in the same fantasy league, and I had Zeke on my team. Dude, the first 4 or 5 weeks, I'm like, oh, bro, I'm getting 20 pieces from him. Yeah. You know, I make a trade with him to get CMC also. I'm like, yo, I'm loaded up. Because anytime I play yearly, I think about week 14, 15, 16. I don't care. 8 years I've been in that league.
Championship weeks.
Yeah. 8 years I've been in that league. 7 of them I've made the playoffs, got the most wins, most championships. You hear that shit, Dom? Yeah, most championships. But.
Well, didn't he win it last year?
Nah, he won it 3 years ago.
That belt. Oh, that's
yeah. We have the belt. It's funny. We've done this league for 8 years, and only 3 of us have won it.
Okay.
My buddy Ralph and we've won it 3 times, and then Dom's won it twice. Yeah.
But I actually invited Dom into my league this year.
Yeah.
That's gonna be free money, bro.
Yo, he's one of those dudes, and I'm sure people listening to this, they all have a guy like this in their fantasy league. I tell him he should play daily because he treats his yearly team like a daily team. Like, if CMC has an 8-point week, he's like, yo, I'm done. I'm trading him. Buy low. Who wants him?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, what are you doing, bro? It happens, you know?
Yeah.
But going back to Zeke, like, I think Dallas is going to be good. Offensively, I think they're going to be KC of the NFC.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you think of 3 better wide receivers on a team?
Nah, dude. I mean, I think PFF had KC ranked number 1 and Dallas number 2. And I forgot who 3 was.
Well, they probably included Kelsey in that.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well,
I'm talking about just wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, they might be number 1 if you're just saying just wide receivers.
I would put them 1.
Yeah.
If we're just talking about wide receivers, not including
CD,
tight ends.
Coop and Gallup. I mean, I know everybody's doing like the whole Hard Knocks bump and everything. Have you watched the show at all? But
I haven't. No, I've lost interest in Hard Knocks after I bet the Bucks to win the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Right.
And it was a nightmare when they got Deshaun Jackson. I was like, yo.
But on Hard Knocks, they're really giving CD a big push.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of hyping him up a little bit. It's hyping him up in you know, season longs. Like his ADP jumped from like 44 to like 35 and like after the second episode aired. And then, you know, all things point to him being a star, bro. Like he's just that gifted of a player, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't disagree with you, man. I think they got the top, you know, core in the league.
Yeah, so you got to expect Zeke to bounce back too. I'm a little worried about Dak because now they're saying, I mean, at the time of recording, this is Thursday of, you know, prior to when this episode is releasing, but he's probably not going to play preseason. Very limited at practice. It's a shoulder and the leg. I mean, week 1, I know you say you're going to be at that game.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to ruin your vibe, but I could see that being ugly because you're throwing Dak out there.
Nah, I hear you. I mean, he's, you know, to your point, he's coming off a catastrophic injury, now the shoulder. And you know what? The first live bullets you're going to see is against
the defending champs. That defense is stacked.
Their ring night, that place is going to be jumping. It's
for sure.
So
you're throwing them out to the Wolves. You know, like I think there's some spots it's 6.5.
Yeah.
I would bet that. I actually bet that already.
Right. The one thing I will say to kind of push back on that a little bit is that, and I know I'm going to be called a homer for this, but dude, Dak's mentally tough, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the stuff that dude's been through, like with, you know, not only just the injury, but he lost his brother.
Yeah.
You know, like that same year, and for him to be able to like kind of just get through that fire, and you see it on Hard Knocks, like the team would run through a wall for him. You know,
yeah,
that's someone you want to go into battle with. You know, so I get what you're saying, but you know, have a little faith in the Cowboys.
I think my concern is the live reps. Like it's big. Like the Giants are going. The Giants are going through it with Saquon.
Yeah,
you know, He's been limited. Some people are saying he's not even ready yet, which is crazy to me. Like, you know, the ACL. It's weird because everyone's body's different. Yeah. But he got hurt week 2 of last year, so he's had almost a full year of recovery.
Yeah. And he's amazing, but he hasn't shown the ability to stay on the field. You know, like I know he had that great rookie season, but, you know, years 2 and 3, he's been hurt both years, you know?
Yeah,
he's a special talent. He's just got to be able to stay on the field.
Yeah, you haven't seen him live up to that hype.
Yeah. He did his rookie year.
He did, yeah.
You know, he came out the gate smoking, but, you know, years 2 and 3 were kind of like the injury bug.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a little concerning, man, because, you know, as a Giants fan, I wanted Daniel Jones to be something so bad, so bad, bro. And it's just not.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
He's not the answer.
No. I have a gut feeling they make a move for a quarterback next year in free agency or trade, because now they got 3 first-round picks in the next 2 years because they got the Bears pick.
Yeah.
And they have 3 2s also.
Yeah.
I'd give all that up for, like, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. He wants to be out of Seattle. That makes a ton of sense.
And there's rumblings I heard from someone that covers the Seahawks that Sierra wants to go to L.A. or New York for her music career.
Right.
He ain't going to go to L.A. because they got Stafford and Herbert.
Right.
The Jets drafted another Wilson.
Zach Wilson, yeah, right. Yeah, not
Open arms, baby.
Yeah, not too many opportunities in Seattle for the music career.
And you have the draft capital if you're the Giants, you know.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, I would hate to see Russ twice a year, but for the Giants, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year for what's going to happen with both teams too. Who do you does Washington scare you?
I mean, they do because of that defense, and Fitzpatrick, he's gonna keep you in a lot of games, but he's gonna throw you out of a lot of games also. So
I want to push back on that. My buddy Impey is, because I'm very high on Washington.
Yeah,
I think their offense is going to be really good too. Gibson, Logan Thomas. I love Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel actually is from the city. Mm-hmm. He played in the PSAL.
Okay.
So I have like a soft spot for guys that play like in the city leagues and then they go out there. That offense is going to be really good. O-line is really good. Head coach is a baller. Defense, I agree with you. Elite, probably the best defense in the league. I think all scenarios are different. This is the best situation he's been in. Yeah. Like top to bottom, team is stacked.
Right.
So I don't think we're going to see those 6 interception games from him.
Yeah. He's a slinger though, man.
He is.
And he's I'm going to steal this from Ryan Clark because he said this about Jameis Winston, but I think it applies to Fitz as well. He's one of those rare quarterbacks that has the ability to keep both teams in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because he's gonna light it up, but then he's gonna throw his picks.
I used to say that about Andrew Luck. I'm like, there's no quarterback I want to have down 17 than him, but there's also a lot of quarterbacks I would pick having a 17-point lead, because exactly. He'll audible into passes. He's gonna give you a couple. But I think Washington is stacked, man. I really think.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, to your point, their defense is elite.
Yeah, and no one's repeated as division champs since I think 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
So that might be good for us.
Right. Might be good for us for sure.
More so for you, because your team is definitely better with Dak. But what do you think of Philly, man?
I think they regressed. I mean, look, Jalen Hurts is he the answer? I mean, he had his flashes last year, but he was also a better fantasy quarterback than he was a real life one. Right.
And I think that's a big misconception in football. A lot of times where a guy is a good fantasy player,
numbers, but he's not really good.
But he's not really a good football player. And then there's also the flip side where I think Kenny Golladay is a great football player, but
not a great.
I wouldn't want him as my number one receiver in fantasy, especially now with the Giants, because I think there's too many.
But he'll make that tough catch on the third
and like as an actual football player on Sunday, he reminds me a lot of Plaxico.
Yeah, I can see that.
Also, Burris, when he came over to
he's a little more like stockier than Plaxico.
Yeah, and he's a little smaller too in height, but also
play style
is very similar. Right. And if you think about it, when they brought in Plax from Pittsburgh at the time, Eli Manning was like year 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They brought him in to help his accuracy and shit, the same shit they did for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, man. I think, though, it's going to be either Washington or you guys in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone's saying in the preseason. But, one thing we learned about football is you never know, man. Mm-hmm. You never know. Like, who would have known that Dak was going to break his ankle, week 5 last year? So, with injuries, that's always the wild card. Because, in the NFL, you need a little bit of luck, man. Like, you need things to break your way, like, as far as, like, injuries go. So, you gotta factor that in as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there's something I want to steal from my notes here about. There's a couple of things that, like, professional sports bettors, the common thing is there's 4 key things to a team's success year in, year out. And these are all luck based because you mentioned luck. Like, yeah, it's important for you to be good, but luck is a big part of it too. Yeah. We're going to get into that when it comes to DFS in just a second.
Right.
But the 4 things that they talk about is close wins, 1-score games, right? Like, you can't expect a team to go 8-1 in 1-score games and then the next year go 8-1 again. It just it always it always regresses back to the mean. So you got close wins. Injury luck is number 2. Strength of schedule. Like, how many times you see teams, they come in last the year before.
They go to first.
Because they're playing the 4th place schedule.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people are like, yo, 4th place, 1st place. Yeah, it's a big difference if you're playing Kansas City as opposed to the Raiders.
Right.
When you got to play the AFC West. And the last thing is turnovers too, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't win the turnover battle, it's going to be hard to win.
And it's also something where it's rare to see a team be, plus 30 in turnovers one year to the next. Like, it just don't happen. Yeah. So those are the 4 things when it comes to team success.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, man, for sure.